Yo, how you doing? My goodness, we have an exciting market behind us. Hopefully, an even more exciting ahead of us. The question really is: Are we having? Is the cycle theory broken? Are we actually crossing a new all-time high before the halving? This would be an absolute disruption to the general cycle. Let's see how that goes. And obviously, the question also: Are we going to see a December bear? Are we going to see a December bull? We're going to talk about the Bitcoin pump. We're going to talk about the gold bump and then the dump. We're going to talk about MetaChain, what's going on there. We're going to talk about some exciting stuff that's coming up for our big elites. We have a lot of ground to cover. Let's dive in. Fabio, how are you, sir? How's everything going? I don't know if you want to share some of your personal challenges over the past couple of days. I'll leave this up to you, but it's always interesting to share.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. For me, there might be a little bit of an echo because I'm sitting in a mostly empty room. I've been moving, and with the moving, I kind of did not look at any news, at price, nothing from Friday till Monday, and I was shocked to kind of go back online on Monday morning and just see we were almost at 40K, 42K, which I was not expecting. And of course, as any normal crypto guy, I was looking for a reason. So I went online and I couldn't really find any besides a few rumors that Middle Eastern sovereign wealth funds are rumored to be buying Bitcoin. Besides that, I haven't been following the news a bit. I might have a bit of juicy nuggets just overall, but you were probably deeper in the news than I was, just because I kind of missed a lot this weekend due to.
Dude, I'm gonna show you what my wife bought for me today, and you're not gonna be impressed by it, but I am. German Lebkuchen. Yeah, it's Christmas time, so I thought, I'm gonna eat one. I'm in Singapore, so this is special. They're German. They're from ATH actually. Yeah, effing amazing, and it's Christmas, so I'm allowed to eat that. Yeah, 1 month in the year, and it's really difficult in Singapore to get proper Lebkuchen. That's amazing.
Cool. We
Fabio.
actually have today, so all over the world, you have different kind of Christmas celebrations, and just 1 minute off topic, and then we're diving into the stuff that everybody's interested. But here in the Netherlands, it's not Santa Claus with 24 of December or 25th of December. So in the United States, you get your presents 25th of December. It's some fat guy coming down a chimney. I think in Central Europe, it is the Christmas child, like some sort of an angel that actually brings the presents, and it's happening on the 24th evening. And here in the Netherlands, it is some Pope-looking guy on a ship coming the 5th of December on a ship
Really?
from Spain, not from North Pole, but he comes from Spain. So he's visiting today. So every part of the world has a bit of their own Christmas traditions. This is why I'm wearing my ugly Christmas sweater. You cannot really see it, but there's a unicorn with sunglasses on it. Uh, yeah. So that's for the off topic part.
What are you gonna celebrate with your kids? Are you gonna
Um,
celebrate Santa? Are
yeah,
you gonna celebrate the Swiss tradition? What are you gonna do?
both. We're actually going to celebrate both, and we don't want to spoil our kid. So we're going to take it easy on the presents, but we're going to do more of a family get together. So because our families live 1,000 kilometers apart from each other, we're going to celebrate once here in the Netherlands on the 5th, and once on the 24th with the Swiss part of the family on the 24th. Which is more about the tradition, the eating, the coming together, than the presents.
Cool. Sounds good. Nice, nice, nice. Interesting. Let's talk about the Bitcoin price. For the Bitcoin price, always respect the pimp. So we crossed 42,000. We actually shot through the 40,000. Was this expected? I mean, I don't think last week we expected this. I definitely didn't. I don't know if you did. Talk to me a bit about this. Talk to me a bit about the sentiment, and then talk to me a bit about what are the reasons that people are kind of rumoring about why this happened.
Yeah, so maybe for my side, it definitely wasn't expected. So you have these two big camps, and I would call them the bears and the moon boys, and of course the truth is somewhere in between.
The
And on the
crypto couples and the moon boys. So
exactly. On the bear side, you probably have Capo, you have Gareth Soloway, you have a lot of legacy people like Peter Schiff and others. And on the Moon Boy side, oh my God, there's so many accounts like Tech Dev or Crypto Titan or I don't know MM Crypto or a lot of YouTubers that are calling
Chris
for.
is a permable.
He's definitely on the permable side. And of course, usually the truth lies somewhere in between, but you have to give it to the permables. They've kind of been right since probably start of the year.
100%.
We were going up only without a major correction, which is very, very unusual. And so one thing I kind of pat myself on the back. The only real thing that I was right is since about 2 years, I'm making the case that Bitcoin dominance is going to go to 55, maybe even to 60%. We're currently at 54, which, look, I would say we're still in a Bitcoin season, but it's ending soon. When exactly, it's hard to say. Historically, we have maybe a maximum another 11 months. It could end today. So between today and 11 months, I would make the case that we're still in Bitcoin season, that the Bitcoin dominance is probably going to go higher from 54, maybe to 55, maybe to 60. And then we look historically, and this is maybe the title of the show. And the question you asked is the cycle theory broken? And I would make the case that no, until now, it's not broken. If you look, for example, in 2018, 2019, we saw a run up from 3,000 to 14,000 pre-halving. And you could make the argument that we see something similar right now, that this is a front running of the halving. Everybody and their little sister knows that the halving is coming next year. Everybody knows the ETF is coming. And hey, why not that smart money is actually looking to front run all of this? They look two examples here maybe. If you look at the merge, which we had last year, a little bit more than a year ago.
Ethereum merge, you mean?
Ethereum merge, exactly.
Yep.
We saw prices running up for about a year till about 2-3 weeks before the merge, and then it was buy the rumor, sell the news. And something similar could happen either if we're not getting an ETF approval in January, or if it actually gets approved, then we kind of sell the news. That could be a legit scenario. I don't think so. Adam Beck and other hardcore OGs, they make the case that we could see 100,000 Bitcoin before the halving. I don't think so. And maybe my reasoning for that is more on the macro side than it is on the Bitcoin side. Do you think that, okay, I know for the fact that you're not a strong believer in the cycle theory, so you would probably not say, yeah, is it broken, is it not broken, does it exist? And would you say is it possible that we make all-time highs before the halving? Maybe these two questions.
I mean, of course, possible. I mean, anything is possible. The question is more, is it probable or not? And here's my answer very clearly, that I just think it's not probable. To me, it's a lot of front running right now for the ETF. There's a lot of front running with the halving. I think a lot of that is absolutely reasonable, but then there are other parts that I think are not as reasonable. And I think that's more a bit more questionable. I am enjoying the ride right now. I'm super happy about it. But I think especially if we get to a potential Bitcoin approval, which Bitcoin ETF approval, which now I think consensus is that if we get it, or I mean it's a 90 whatever % chance, then it's probably going to happen between the January 5th and 10th. At least that's kind of the expectation right now. So if we go in this route, then I don't know. Let's see what the price is at that point. I mean, we can talk about conspiracy theories right now. Who's buying like a maniac? I mean, in the past months, obviously Saylor has been buying about half of the institutional purchases. So I think $1.2 billion were pushed into Bitcoin. About 600 million of that was with Saylor. Now we see a continuation of the buying. I mean, it could be anyone. There are obviously a lot of rumors swirling around. You were the one who kind of pointed this out to me. Do you want to share a bit on the rumors there?
Yeah, so this definitely, please take this with a bag of salt. That it's 100% just a rumor. Nothing is confirmed yet. And funny enough, this was mainly spread throughout Europe. I could not really see any APAC or US publications picking this up. So I
Yeah, it's
only saw
interesting.
this.
You're right. That really came from Europe. I didn't see this internationally. Very interesting.
Yeah, only European news sources and influencers were talking about this, and the rumor is, of course, Qatar, a Middle Eastern country with 500 billion sovereign wealth fund that they are rumored to be already buying or starting to buy Bitcoin. That's basically the rumor. And I have not seen any legit news publication or any evidence that is actually suggesting that this is happening. It could, of course, this could be a possibility. There are, look, and where Julian and I 100% agree is somebody with big money is buying.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
it,
this everyone agrees on this, and the simple reason for that is price going up, right? So when people always tell me, "Why is the price going up?" Like it was so funny. Remember that Slack conversation? Fabio was like, "Man, the price is pumping," and I'm like, "No one knows why, and I know." And Fabio was like, "Tell me," and I said, "There's more buying interest than selling interest," and it was like ruffle, 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 roll of laughing. It's true, of course.
it's definitely true. But what you can see is that there is some data, and you can, for example, look on-chain data and data from exchanges. And what we definitely can say is that Europeans are not really strong when it comes to buying. So the main buying power, if you're looking at retail, is APAC and US, and you can see that on the timestamps when people are buying. You can see that on exchanges. Will Clemente has a really great overview, and he kind of displays that for everybody to see. But since about, I would say, like 6 months or so, Europeans were really asleep at the wheel. So we're not really driving that pump. Of course, Europeans are buying, but not in bulk and not more than they have been 6 months ago. But the US retail and the APAC, so meaning the East, China, Asia, and so on, they have been really stepping up their game when it comes to buying. That's the only thing we really can see. There is a lot of people making the case that the interest and the buying is more happening on the institutional side than on the retail side. But yeah,
Yeah. Um, Obviously, I don't know if you've heard any other rumors. Let me know on Twitter or let me know on YouTube. If you're on YouTube, can you do me a favor? Someone dropped me a DM. I tried this out. It seems to be working right now. I fixed my audio with one tip that is I need to adjust the audio setting actually in my MacBook. And then on YouTube or on Restream, whatever I use, I cannot select the same audio. I need to say default. Then the system uses the computer setting and it doesn't constantly play around with it. And that seems to be working. So if you can do me a favor, let me know how my audio is. Is it stable? Is it too loud? But right now it seems to be working. That's actually quite good. So if you've heard of any other kind of theories on who's buying, why someone is buying, obviously, I think two prevailing theories right now. Either there's institutions generally more diversified buying, and then obviously the big rumor mill is around Qatar. What do you think for December, Fabio? December, where do you think we're going?
okay, I want to bring in a little bit of a macro twist to this. So, two things. If we are just, so in the title, we said cycle theory. And if we just look at previous cycles, that's all the data we have. So I want to bring this in and one other point. So the last cycle we had, the whole of 2019 and the whole of 2020 was a lot. So many people don't know that, and I see a lot of questions. And you can, the comparison I wanted to make is in macro or in the S&P 500 in stocks, we talk about the magnificent seven. And in crypto, it is very similar right now. There is only it's not two handful like in the crypto space. It's many more, but a large majority, I would say, like 90% of altcoins are not pumping at the moment. There are a select few, and of course, if you go on Twitter and if you spend any time and looking at influencers, they will point out very gladly which ones that are pumping. But not everything is pumping, and um, we kind of like to extrapolate from the very few ones that the whole market is going up. but it's actually not. It's mainly Bitcoin, and you can see that in the dominance. A few other blue chip ones, and then you have rare exceptions, like for example Solana or Pepe Coin. But others like Shiba Inu, for example, which was the darling of last cycle, hasn't really moved much. So and the cycle, in theory, we're 1 year too early. If you are looking at previous cycles, it's still another year until Bitcoin broke its all-time high in late 2020. That would put us late 2024 if you just extrapolate this another 4 years. So we're 1 year too early. And then one other thing I would like to point out: if you look at traditional markets, you could really see that the S&P and the Nasdaq are kind of dropping, maybe topping out, maybe not. I will make the argument that they're topping out, because you can see one thing that we in crypto know very well is what I would call the liquidity curve. So first you have Bitcoin pumping, then you have Ethereum pumping, and then the altcoins follow. So in the traditional markets, this is the Nasdaq, Bitcoin, then Ethereum as maybe the S&P 500, and then the altcoins as the Russell 2000. And the Russell 2000 is picking up steam while the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 are slowing down, meaning liquidity moves more down. It's like a trickle down. So you could make the argument that we maybe or maybe not see a local top in traditional markets, which would of course also be bad for crypto as a whole. I'm not sure in how bullish December is going to be. Everybody's talking about 48,000, and because everybody's talking about it, probably we're not going to see it. So either we are not going to see it, so we're not making it there, or we're going to overshoot it. But topping out at 48K is off the table, I would say, because so many people are talking about it. I'm more in the camp of I'm more in the bearish side than the bullish side. Also, one technical aspect, I know you don't like them, Julian, but after that, I would really like to hear your opinion. If you look at the RSI, Relative Strength Index, we're right about the territory where we topped in previous bull runs. So we're very much overextended on the buying side, and we are overdue for a correction, but we have been overdue for a correction since quite a while. So yeah. What is your feel for December?
I'm gonna stay on the bullish side. I'm not saying we're gonna see a 10% or 15% month. We pumped over the weekend, which is very rare. I want to be very clear. I think the last time we pumped over the weekend is a long time ago. We opened the CME gap. These gaps, the gap right now sits between 39 and 40,000. These gaps are notorious to be closed again. So I do think that we're gonna go under 40,000 again. I don't know if in December or in January or someone, but I think we're going to see the sub 40,000 again. I do think we're going to see a green month in December. To me, it's just, unless the exception to that is simply if suddenly if one of those key ETFs gets rejected in December already, then I think the market will just get very pessimistic. But at the moment, I don't see any reason on believing why the market should go down. I agree with you that the general market, I would be a bit more on the cautious side. We can talk about gold in a second. Stocks, bonds, precious metals, crypto, everything had a historic November. Historic close. Bonds slaughtered in the past 3 years. Historic November. Stocks, one of the best months. Precious metals, gold, new all-time high. We're going to talk about the dip now. I think, I don't know, I'm a bit more cautious on those things. And crypto, I just think there's this micro that really kind of goes for crypto right now. The narrative works really well, especially for Bitcoin, secondary Ethereum. I think all the other coins really have a tough time on this right now, and we see this. I would be very cautious at the moment. Definitely not going short on crypto. I think right now this is very scary, but just staying on the sidelines and believing that this is just going to be a fluke. Where I would get more on the cautious side is probably after a potential Bitcoin ETF approval. So I would probably think we're going to see a red Q1. So I'm part of that group that thinks that Q1, even though we have the halving and everything, it's going to be more of a bearish quarter for me. So let's see. So I believe in the December bull. I believe in, as long as the ETF hope stays, I just don't see much reason on why to change my opinion there. Do you want to talk about gold? I know that you are maybe to set the record or the history on this a bit. I think I'm not overstating this. I've always been someone who's a bit more reserved around gold. I'm more probably I just always see this as this. I know I'm more the Buffett type there. Like this is this gold little thing, and it's like super shiny and it's beautiful and it's nice. And I definitely think it's something awesome to give to your kids or something. I'm always more on the cautious side when it comes to an investment, and I think you see this a bit on the other side, where you think there are times when gold can be doing really well, and it may be that currently there is such a time coming up. I hope I characterized this the right way a bit. Do you want to share a bit on what happened to gold? I think you're following this a bit closely. Yeah.
Yeah, you summed it up quite perfectly. So somebody pointed out that my microphone is doing weird things. I really hope I can fix that last time. Sorry about the quality
Let me
issues this
try
time.
something. What happens if I mute my mic? Can you tell me on YouTube what happens if I'm muting my mic right now? Let me know how the audio is then afterwards. Maybe it's actually my mic and it's not Fabio.
Sure. So, okay, I'm definitely bullish on gold for many reasons, and it's a big part of my portfolio. I think there are swings to it. It's not a great investment uh, if this is a bigger part of a portfolio for a very long time. It's more that there are swings to it, commodity cycles. I would say I think it's always good to have some gold, especially physical ones. And in Switzerland, it's deeply enrooted within in the culture, so I kind of grew up with that. But what happened to gold was pretty interesting. So many people, of course, gold is, let's say, famous to be this geopolitical risk edge, and you kind of see these moves that are super interesting, and I want to point out two moves and a little bit of speculation to them. So we had some rumors. I think it was I'm not sure when this was. I think just a few days ago, either Monday or Friday. But the news was that there was this rebel group in Yemen that opened up fire on U.S. naval ships, and there were rumors or fears that the Middle Eastern conflict could escalate due to that. And gold was reacting instantaneously to that, and we saw a move. Like in gold, a move from 1800 to 2100 is considered a huge move. This is a big move. But the move that we saw was more than $100 to the upside very quickly. It got sold off faster. We're trading below that. It's kind of interesting to follow because gold tends to sniff out or react to these geopolitical tensions extremely fast, but it's unable to hold these levels. And we can also see this in February of 2020, when throughout the whole of January into February, gold was consistently increasing. And with the announcement that that Russia is invading Ukraine, you could really see gold shooting up, but then selling off instantaneously. There is two theories to that. One is, of course, that these are speculators that are in for a short-term profit, and the other is that there is manipulation, that big players are trying to kind of put gold down. You can be the judge of that as the audience. Which one of these is true? I'm probably more into the latter camp, that there is some manipulation and that there is global interest to kind of keep the price of gold down. But I think eventually we will see strong moves to the upside. It was never possible to keep gold down, and gold always adjusts to its fair value, which is more or less tracking the purchasing power. So gold was able to keep its purchasing power for thousands of years, and it's gonna probably it is gonna keep the purchasing power for a, another hundreds of maybe even thousands of years. So you always said, like, 100 years ago, 120 years ago, people always said that an ounce of gold is buying a fine man's suit. And this is still true. That back then the price of a suit was, I don't know, less than $100, and now a fine man's suit is more than $1,000. So it's gold just keeps its purchasing power, but it tends to underperform for a decade or so, and then have these strong moves within a year, 2 year, or 3 year period where it outperforms almost all other assets, and then it kind of corrects and stays flat for another 10 years. And if you're able to play these 1 or 2 or 3 years where it performs, I think gold can be a great investment. Personally think what Ray Dalio says as well, it should be part of every portfolio because it balances things out pretty easily or pretty smoothly. He advocates for a 10% allocation. My allocation is a little bit higher than that, but yeah, and it's it's so nice to hold it in your hand and to look at it for everybody. Yeah, that's some added benefit to it. But that would be a little bit of the breakdown that I had, and of course, Peter Schiff was instantaneously picking that up and calling the top with his tweet at around 2100. He really tweeted at the peak. That
Yeah, he was spot on that. Yeah, so it seems it was not Fabio's mic; it was my mic. I'm muting it when Fabio's talking from now on YouTube. Just I don't know. I have some issues with the auto gain sometimes. It's always a bit of a tricky thing. Okay, definitely interesting. Again, I have a gold allocation in my portfolio, but it's definitely not the the biggest position. Obviously, interesting if you believe in a recession, just kind of highlight this. Obviously, we don't know how crypto would do in a proper recession, in a proper like a 2008 recession kind of style, because Bitcoin didn't exist at that point. We can only speculate, and obviously, we would hope it does well. But in the first 6 months of a recession, it's actually only the dollar and bonds who are doing well. The first thing that then takes off normally is gold. So Fabio, you spot on right, and then only later on that's when stocks are coming. So I don't know. It's going to be quite tricky to see when what Bitcoin would do. If Bitcoin would be seen as a safe haven, there would be seen as gold to kind of takes off as first, or would be more in the risk on kind of category together with stocks. Definitely interesting to kind of guess, speculate, guess, whatever. Yeah. I think that's kind of it from the general investment side. Do we want to shift a bit to DeFi chain? I mean, that's your forte. I mean, for those that don't know, Fabio is really going to focus a lot more on the DeFi chain side. We'll still have him here on the bake side. I don't know where this is coming from. I see sometimes in the community, also Fabio, you have pointed this out to me, that you have seen this a bit where people are a bit scared that we at Bake or we at Cake don't support the ecosystem. We don't want to we don't want to bet on DeFi chain. I want to make this very clear. It's the exact opposite. To me, at the moment, I think the key thing we need for the DeFi chain ecosystem is just more attention. We need more reach, and a couple of strategies that we have at Bake is just to expand into other communities, to attract other ideas, to extract other investment possibilities, so that we can get new communities and then we can cross market between those communities. And at the same time, we do want to build on the DeFi chain ecosystem and so on. So please, just because we add a new coin or I tweet about a different coin, that doesn't mean that I'm dropping DFI. It just means that I'm trying to gather attention for the entire ecosystem. So I just want to be really clear. And yeah, I see DeFi Chain Info saying the new thumbnail style is really cool. By the way, if I find that person in the company who makes those weird thumbnails of me on I think it's on Midjourney, but I think now it's actually a computer. So they do it automated. So that's why they all kind of like, no, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me. So everyone's kind of hiding behind it. So let's see. But yeah, Fabio, talk a bit about MetaChain projects, talk a bit about what's going on there. I think we have seen the first rug pulls on MetaChain last week. Yeah, what are the coins that are taking off right now? Again, we are looking into offering some of the MetaChain coins to our elites first on Bake. I'll talk a bit about this later. And then later on, we're going to offer it to our regular customers as well. But yeah, give us a bit of an overview right now.
Yeah, of course. We saw, I think we have now 14 days, a little bit more, somewhere around, so let's say 2 weeks, plus minus, where the EVM layer is activated, and with it, we probably have 10-ish, 15-ish projects that are already live and building. And it goes from meme tokens, where there is a Julian Hosp token, Dollar Hosp. There is a u-zyn token. There are legit projects like a full-on DEX with all capabilities, like Vanilla Swap. We have other projects that kind of laid out their roadmaps. We have very basic projects where you just can buy a pixel on a website, and many, many more that will launch. Like I'm talking very closely to a few projects that are going to go live within the next 2 or 3 weeks. And so personally, as you pointed out, we've seen two rock pools, and namely this was MetaDex and Walt Swap, I think were the name of these two. Look, there is a positive side and a negative side to EVM. The positive side is it opens up new gateways. It opens up many new possibilities. And guess what? One of these possibilities is that you just can port over a questionable or scammy version and software. It is like maybe a little bit of a comparison. Look, Apple is this closed system. It's really hard to get things in, and Android is a is a very open system, and it's somewhere compatible too. So everything can get done with EVN, and there are a few malicious actors that are kind of taking advantage of this situation. So be careful when you try things out. Do your research, listen to the community, because I found it very interesting. And here maybe a shout out to Mr. Swayze, for example, that was able to pick up that Metascan over Meta Chain Dex, or I don't know even the name. That he was able to point out that this is very questionable within like the first few minutes or hours of them going live. And just go onto Twitter, and before you put money in it, talk with other community members. If you don't, if you're not able to read code, there are many other people that are able to read codes, and maybe able to audit or look at that. Kugi is a great follow, for example. DC is a great follow. We have DeFi Chain Info that has a YouTube channel that talks about these things. Take your time. It's not These things are not going to run away from you. It's better to invest the time to take a day, read through the stuff, follow people on Twitter, and do some googling, and then invest instead of the other way around. But don't be scared just because we had two rock pools, because there's many legit projects there. And here as well, I kind of pointed that out last week. Many people are instant. Oh, why is this not influencing the price? Why is this not pumping? Give it some time. We had, I think, a little bit more than 2 million DFI, or I'm actually questioning myself if it was DFI or USD value that got ported over to Meta Chain onto the EVM layer. And it's slowly picking up. Every time we kind of reach a new plateau, we kind of see another leg up. Give people some time to get their funds over, to dip their toes in. But yes, super exciting what's coming. And I think the biggest two or three projects haven't even launched yet. They're all looking at an end of December, beginning of January timeline. So I'm super excited about early next year. Also because there are a few other things that uh, we have planned from a DeFi Labs side. Yeah, maybe did I forget any noteworthy thing? Something to actually.
To be honest, you're probably the better expert. One thing I really want to do at this point is actually I want to do a Twitter space and kind of walk through a lot of things in more detail for DeFi Chain, because myself, and I want to be very clear, right? I know, I don't know if this looks like this, but I don't spend so much time on Twitter. Maybe, I don't know, it's like 30 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes a day in total on Twitter, and so I have no time to follow everything with work, family. I don't know, going to the gym, doing some stuff for my own health. I also really lost a bit of the oversight, and so then sometimes I see this and that. I'm like, whoa, this thing is so exploding. So I am the wrong person to comment on that stuff. To kind of add additional insights there. One thing, do we have anything else? Because I want to talk a bit about something exciting that we have on the big side with the Alpha Desk, but I want to see if anything else on the market side we have a little bit still.
Um, I I think that one of the things that can really, so we are a bit at the intersection between the DeFi chain community, Meta chain, DeFi chain, the legacy chain, and Bake, and it all kind of ties together. And they speak to very different audiences. On a DeFi chain side, you have these really look. sorry for the word, but the degen people that use Light Wallet, that use the node, that use MetaMask, and that feel very comfortable exchanging funds in between and so forth. But the broad audience, and I'm kind of trying to lay a bridge here to what Julian wants to bring up next, is they are not that into all these different kind of applications. They feel very threatened about the situation that you need to connect wallets, what to trust, what not to trust, and that need kind of somebody that they can rely on, that kind of guides them, takes them by their hand, and so on. And my prediction, or I think how this all is going to play out is um, Bake as a company can be a big acceleration for the whole meta chain and DeFi chain ecosystem. And Julian said, look, Bake is not abandoning DeFi chain in any way. And I think the large majority or a big majority of funds that can go onto DMC and into the DeFi chain universe can actually come through Cake for people that say, hey, look, I rather use a custodial solution, centralized regulated entity, have my funds there, and allocate a certain part of my portfolio into these new projects and get price exposure this way, instead of controlling my own key, having three different kind of wallets, connecting my wallet to this service and to this DEX, and so on. And so I think, and this is about to happen over the course of the next few months. So maybe I can just throw the ball over to you, Julian, so you can elaborate a little bit more on that.
Of course. I mean, I just want to finish with, obviously, we are constantly growing, we're constantly building. I think especially now that we had that right sizing in the company about 2 weeks ago, for us, the focus has been back stronger than ever. The team is insanely focused. We had a really, really good kind of town hall session yesterday as well, where we really kind of, really put kind of the direction also for the next year. One thing that we're really going to focus on is all kinds of alpha ideas. We're going to call it the Alpha Desk. We're going to launch this first for elites. It's going to be the main focus will be on elites. Just also because a lot of these ideas will be more exclusive. We cannot just offer them to everyone. There will be ideas that we're going to offer to all our customers. There's going to be ideas that's going to be very exclusive. They're going to be built around narratives, very easy to understand. People can then decide, are they actually going to go with that? We may even offer the opposite side, right, where you can go one side or the other side. We're gonna hopefully we're gonna see the first one of that relatively soon. We're gonna go with alpha ideas on DeFi chain. We're gonna offer alpha ideas not on DeFi chain. We're gonna offer very complicated, actually, with options. We're gonna offer some that are long short, some are bundles. It's gonna be really, really exciting. We are so looking forward to this. I think the entire team is really excited about this. And so, you should see hopefully a lot of things coming out there. If you're not an elite yet, then you should definitely take a look into this. We're actually going to we are running a very special promotion right now for Christmas, where the first month of elite is for free. So if you're becoming an elite right now, you're either doing the monthly version, we're going to refund that first month. If you're doing the annual version, we're going to refund that portion of the first month. So you're going to have a very, very nice Christmas gift there, and you should be able to benefit from a lot of those ideas. So definitely, if you're an elite already, check out the new app. You're going to see this new style. This is really, really cool. And definitely watch out for those ideas. Check out the bundles that we have. There's some, obviously, the Market Mover bundle right now it's been insane, like really, really bonkers. And you're going to see more and more there. So that's something that we're really looking forward to. What we're then also going to start is we're going to do special webinars and special kind of insights around those ideas so that people have an easier way to kind of inform themselves, discover those ideas. Then obviously once you are there, then you can take action. And then afterwards, it's really about connecting with like-minded people. So it's this understand, act, connect. And I think that's going to be a really key kind of concept. So really looking forward to that. It's all gonna come together really nicely right now, so that's gonna be a key kind of focus in everything. I just wanted to finish with that. So check out the new big elite promo that we have. Check out the bundles that we have. Obviously, there's gonna be cash flow on top whenever there's cash flow possible. Enjoy the crypto ride while it's doing so well. Don't get discouraged when there's downtrends. Other than that, Fabio, any things that you still wanna point out?
Maybe two things. One is we're kind of doing this live because we had Julian and myself. We haven't talked about this previous to this session. How is our schedule going to look like over the coming 3 weeks? So I think next week is set in stone.
Yeah,
Um,
next week is definitely set in stone. The week after, I'm actually on leave, but we can see. I mean, let's see. I would keep it flexible. I don't know what your schedule is. If there's something that's really newsworthy, then let's do another space. We can. I think we can just do it a bit more spontaneous. There's going to be 2 weeks over Christmas and New Year where I'm definitely off. That's always for me the holiday time. But I think we're just going to go a bit with the flow. What do you think?
Sure. The only thing for me is week 51, so it's second last week of the year. I'm probably going to be unable to have a good setup because I will be visiting my
Which one is
families.
that? Yeah. Okay. I
Uh,
mean, sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's the 18th.
but
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I mean, let's see.
next week set in stone, so make sure to tune in. And two more things. So one thing is from the dissecting labs side, which is basically a little bit of a super small team that solely focuses on outcomes on DeFi chain, which I contribute a lot to. So this is mainly the European part of this team. So as many of you know, I work together with Liam. He's also based in the Netherlands. Myself, I'm based in the Netherlands, and Florian, he's also based in Europe, in Austria. And we kind of organize an event in Munich, a DeFi chain community event. It's going to be the biggest one yet, expecting 200 people to come. The event is already live. It's on Eventbrite. There's like a site where you can buy tickets to all kinds of different events. And I just want to make a quick reminder there. The event has been live for a week and it's almost sold out. So out of 199 tickets, we have about 25 tickets left. So if you want us in January, Julian is going to be there, myself is going to be there, and many, many others from the community. We have, I don't know, Jeff, Sphere, Jellyverse, Vanilla Swap, Ebox, DMC, many, many others are going to be there. It's going to be a fantastic event. Make sure to get your ticket in time. As I said, about 25 tickets are left, and it's yeah, that's one thing. And the other thing, of course, the mandatory mentions. If you're just tuning in now on Twitter and on YouTube, you will be able to have a recording both on Twitter, on X, on YouTube. It's going to be on if you're not subscribed yet, or if you don't follow us, please make sure to do so. We are doing this on a weekly basis, and we will be back next week to check if Julian and myself am right. Julian is more on the bullish side for December. I'm more on the bearish side. Let's see how this plays out over the course of the next week.
I love it. Thank you so much. With that, everyone, hey, if you haven't done so, follow us on Twitter. Click the subscribe button here on YouTube or follow us on X, obviously. Retweet that or reshare that. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. And then I hope I see you next time. Fabio, I wish you a beautiful rest of a Tuesday. Everyone else, obviously, as well. See you all the best. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you next time. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Julian and Fabio.